This week we catch up with Friday Night Lights actor Scott Porter to find out what games he most enjoyed at this year's E3. Mel gets into the driver's seat and discovers what's new and improved in Mario Kart 8, while Jimmy the Geek gets up close and personal with Iron Galaxy Studios to discuss the new season of Killer Instinct. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week it's very nearly more profitable to play video games than it is to play golf. That is, if you're playing Dota 2 anyway. The prize pool for Valve's Dota 2 tournament, the International, has officially tipped the $10 million point, which makes the event richer than a bunch of real-world sports tournaments, including the US Open Golf, which hands out a mere $9 million. The International is set for July 18 to 21 in Seattle's Key Arena, and 16 teams will duke it out for their share of that massive prize pool. Moving right along, everybody seems to be getting in on a bit of pre-release testing action, with any number of alpha and beta tests opening up all over the place. One of the biggest, of course, is World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor. Blizzard has sent out invitations to community veterans, press, fan sites, friends and family, and opt-in beta testers, and there's no restrictions on who can share what content. On one hand, this can mean the internet is now fraught with potential spoilers, but on the other, if you're not yet sure about the latest expansion set for World of Warcraft, you've been given the perfect opportunity to take a look before you take the plunge. Make sure you opt in via Battle.net to let Blizzard know you're interested, and then sit by your email inbox for your invitation. Ubisoft has also announced plans for a couple of its games. Tom Clancy's End War Online has kicked off its alpha test, that's the stage before beta testing, inviting selected fans in to check out the free-to-play MOBA. If you've not received an invitation for that one, you do have another chance to sneak into the alpha. The team at Ubisoft is running a lucky draw program. Simply register or sign up with your Uplay account, click Play Alpha now and try your luck. You get one chance every day, so you've got to get lucky once, right? You've got a little longer to wait before you try out new online racer The Crew, but Ubisoft has opened up beta signups for that one as well. Put your name down now and you've got a much better chance of joining the team when the beta starts from July 23. And speaking of beta testing, Activision has released a few stats about what people got up to when Destiny was opened up to the public a few weeks ago. Lucky testers played nearly 6.5 million games, gathering 2.8 million orbs of light and capturing 6.8 million control points. A second beta test is scheduled for July 17, and we are already promised one significant difference. Bungie has reassured fans that the voice acting provided by Peter Dinklage will be updated by the time we get to go hands-on with the game again.
The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. That wizard came from the moon.
We will have Mel's review of Mario Kart 8 later on in this episode, but it looks like you don't need much convincing to pick up the latest Nintendo racer. After less than a month on shelves, the publisher reports it has already sold more than 2 million copies. Minecraft has also released some sales figures. 54 million copies of the blocky world builder have been sold across PC, mobile and console. And a more surprising detail, more people have bought the game on console than they have on PC, despite just about anyone we've asked agreeing that the home computer version is superior. Second Life is back in the headlines this week as well, with new Linden Lab CEO Abby Altberg announcing the studio is working on a follow-up to the Life Sim, due to hit public testing sometime in 2015. Altberg also confirmed something fans had been hoping for: the new game will use Oculus Rift for better immersion in the virtual world. And speaking of Oculus, the VR company has added even more skills to its database, announcing the acquisition of Carbon Design. That's the company that designed the Xbox 360 controller for Microsoft. The companies have been working together for nearly a year now, working on unannounced projects, so it's nice to see them making their relationship legit. Meanwhile, Insomniac Games is keeping itself very busy, with developers working on Sunset Overdrive, Outer and both the film adaptation and a reboot of Ratchet & Clank, but it's now also announced another new game, Slow Down Bull. Axel the Bull wants to collect beautiful things, but he also has a little bit of an anger issue, so it's up to you to keep him calm. The game itself is pretty adorable so far, but the exciting thing about Slow Down Bull is that it marks brand new territory for Insomniac, reclaiming the studio's indie roots as a team of just 5 people take on the project. And sticking with Insomniac for a moment, the studio has stepped up to rescue a poor, lost video game character. Ubisoft copped a bit of flack at this year's E3 after a statement relating to the lack of female player characters in Assassin's Creed Unity. Simply put, there was no room for lady assassins in their game, but it's okay. She's found a new home in Sunset Overdrive.
Brittany asks, can you play as a female character? Of course. I mean, self-expression is super important to us. So you can be female, you can be male, you can be different skin tones, you can be different body types, and all the clothing is gender neutral. So if you want to be a dude in a skirt, you can be a dude in a skirt, all right? Just be who you want to be. Take a stab at it.
For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around. Got plenty more still to come. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen from Player Attack. We are here at E3 2014, and there are quite a lot of celebrities and famous people who start walking around the halls of E3, being in LA, it's, you know, the city of this sort of thing. We found one. We found Scott Porter, who is in all sorts of things. You might have seen him in the Heart of Dixie. What else can people see you in at the moment?
I mean, Heart of Dixie right now is the big thing, and then people can actually hear my voice in video games. The Walking Dead Season 2 from Telltale, I voice Luke.
Why would Carver still be following us?
What's the most important thing in this world? What's the one thing a guy would walk hundreds of miles to get back?
You have no idea who these people are, do you? If people don't trust you, how can you trust them?
I believe that they announced I am a part of the one of the Warner Brothers games. I'm playing Aquaman for Lego Batman, which is really cool. And then the other thing I can't talk about yet. It's a game that's going to be coming out in 2015, I can tell you that. And it's a pretty big franchise coming out with their fourth game. So let you guys figure out what that is.
I look into the abyss.
Bruce!
Seriously?
Is that a new spacesuit? Your suit looks really good, is all I'm saying. One hero to another, it's really working for you. Sorry, right, brooding. Carry on.
Well, there are a lot of games that were being shown off this year that are, in fact, not coming out until next year, which is great to get excited, but it's so frustrating.
It is frustrating, because like, there's some games that I even got hands-on with while I was here, and I was like, wait, but this doesn't come out till when? How? Why? Don't tease me like that. So I've been really excited with like some more of the games that are coming out this year that I'm like actually going to be able to play. But it's been an E3 cycle of like 3 years. Last year we got teasers. This year we got some more videos and maybe some hands-on, and then next year we'll finally get like the full payload, I think, of the new generation of consoles and the games that are going to be coming out for them. But this has been an awesome E3 so far.
Because you have been coming to E3 before actually being involved in the industry, right?
Yes, this is my 6th year, I think, and I initially came here with the goal of trying to get into video games and voicing video games, and somebody at Activision had seen Friday Night Lights and was a fan of Friday Night Lights, and I just told them, oh, you're a fan of Friday Night Lights? I'm a fan of your games if you need any voice acting. And they gave me a shot with an X-Men game, and I've been a bigger part of the video game world ever since. So E3 is like a second home for me at this point.
If you care about the future, you'll stand alongside the X-Men.
It's just a great time to be a gamer. I know people out there are like, oh, I don't play Microsoft, Sony for life, and I don't understand it because you're cutting yourselves out of being able to play all the cool stuff that's out there.
Looks like we got ourselves a mutie. Wait, no! Take this freak out at the knees.
We're on the same side.
You're all right. Take a deep breath.
Who said that?
Don't be scared. I'm Emma Frost, and we're talking mind to mind. I'll coach you through this. The important thing is to focus.
Alright, so next question. What's your favourite game that you've seen on the floor? You have to pick one. You can only pick one game.
Oh my god. I have to pick one game. Well, in fairness, I haven't seen everything yet. I still have another day. This is on Wednesday. Thursday is a big day for me. But as far as stuff that I've gotten my hands on or stuff that I've seen, I'm really excited about Destiny. Really excited to play a Bungie game again. And then there's like one little Nintendo title called Woolly World that I just loved. It's a Yoshi game, and it's traditional Nintendo, and it put a smile on my face like I haven't had in quite some time. So I think those two games and Sunset Overdrive. I couldn't just pick one, but Sunset Overdrive is something that I've never seen before. It's frenetic. You have to move or you die. The weapons are completely inventive. It's like Grand Theft Auto meets Tony Hawk meets Ratchet and Clank as far as the weapons and stuff, and with the typical Insomniac kind of twist on it. So those three titles I'm really excited about. I'm going to circle back. You asked me one game. Ori. Ori and the Blind Forest was my biggest surprise of the convention so far. I cannot wait to play that game. It's beautiful. It's traditional, really tight 2D platforming, and it's the small games sometimes that get you. A couple of years ago, a big winner for me was Bastion, and this year, Ori and the Blind Forest, I think, is going to be pretty special.
So obviously you're running around all over the place, you're doing voice acting, you're doing real acting, you have a life. Mm-hmm. Are you still able to play any games?
Yes, I probably play, probably upwards of 15 hours a week at least. And the cool thing is when I am working, there are so many ways to game on the go, whether it's a tablet or I have a games briefcase where I can take an Xbox with me and I can just open and play on the go. And then my trailer at work, I've actually transformed into a bit of a mobile man cave. I have a 55-inch TV in there. I make them run high-speed internet cable into the trailer so that I can jump online and I can play my games. And then my wife plays games as well. So Lego games and the Spyro games and the Disney Infinity stuff. She plays all those games with me, and that allows me to get a little bit more game time as well.
So you are just really a massive nerd.
Yeah, I am. I'm wearing an Arcade Murder World t-shirt from the X-Men comic books that was specially made for me by somebody who was a fan of X-Men just like me, and it was like, hey, do you want a limited edition t-shirt? Yeah, I'm a nerd.
The time has come. Join us at AvCon, Adelaide's premier anime and video game festival. Come play tons of video games and check out the latest anime releases, spectacular stage events and cosplay competitions with great prizes. Featuring special guest Chris Avalone, John St. John, and voice actor celebrity Jeremy Lee. Tickets available online or from Shin Tokyo and Game Traders Marion, July 18th to 20th at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Don't miss it.
I took the easy route once. It got me fame, fortune, and glory. But it was all hollow. When I fell hard. I lost everything. But I'm back now, and this time I'm doing it right.
Tell me, what's it like resurrecting a franchise that's been dead for a long time?
So I have to give credit where credit's due. Double Helix resurrected the franchise with Killer Instinct Season 1 last year. It was an Xbox One launch title. I got to play the game actually 1 year ago today, practically, at E3. I wasn't on the project at all, but I spent literally every free moment I had at E3 mashing on that game. I loved it. And I was finding the developers and praising them, saying, go back and tell the team it's awesome, do more of this. And they just had, Jago and Saberwolf back then. Fast forward many months later, the game comes out, I'm playing it an hour a day, I'm just in love with it, and then I find out I get to work on Season 2, so I could not be happier.
The first character that you've announced is TJ Combo. Why a boxer?
Well, so TJ is the stereotypical boxer archetype from all old fighting games. Like, all the old fighting games had these really stereotypical characters, they would play up some awful stereotype, and that was it, call it a day. So I think the design approach in Season 1, I wasn't there, so forgive me, but I believe the design approach in Season 1 was to take these old designs and look at them with a modern eye and say, what would this actually look like if we designed it today, with today's sensibilities? And KI used to be a really goofy game. The old KI had some really silly stuff in it. The new KI is a much more serious game. The combatants look serious, the storyline's a little more serious, everything's a little darker and more moody, blah, 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 right? So what would TJ Combo look like today? boxing is not as popular today as it was back then. Now MMA is the thing. So TJ Combo's still a boxer, but he's spending some of his time doing MMA. So he's got some loose-looking kicks in the mix. He's got some takedowns and tackles. So he ends up being this really interesting kind of half grappler character. He's in your face all the time, and you just can't get him away from you.
And don't think for a moment that I'll let anything get in my way. Because if you give me that moment, I win.
What sort of challenges were you faced with integrating the new combat design that you've put in for the game?
It's pretty tough picking up where another studio left off because we have to take their engine and all their code and look through it and interpret it and figure out how to work with it. Fortunately for us, Double Helix's engine, Hex engine, is just a dream to work with. We've had a really great experience ramping up and getting used to the engine. And being that I was a huge fan of Season 1 to begin with, I really knew the game very well. So I didn't have to study a lot extra to kind of catch up. So all it is looking at the first season, which is 8 characters, and saying, hey, here's the archetypes, here are the characters, here are the roles they fill, what's missing? You know, what can we bring into Season 2 that fills a role for a potential player, maybe someone who's not interested in the game yet because they don't have a character, that we can fill in Season 2. So maybe there's a guy who really likes to play a bulldog character. He likes to walk at you and smash you into the corner and just intimidate you. But there wasn't a character for him in Season 1, and now we have TJ Combo. And hopefully the rest of the characters in Season 2 fill roles for people that don't exist yet.
How many other characters are you releasing?
We're going to do 8 characters for Season 2, just like we did for Season 1. It'll be a mix of returning characters from old KI and brand new characters to the IP. We have some crazy ideas. We can't wait to show you.
Did you play the original Killer Instinct back on the Nintendo and in the arcades?
I did. I was an arcade rat back in the day. I'm actually getting kind of old. I'm 32 now. I was threatened. Somebody threatened to stab me in an arcade once. That's a real thing. I grew up playing Street Fighter 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat. I lived in the arcades as a kid, and it's pretty awesome to have spent so much time with a genre I love so much, and now I get to actually work on those characters. It feels pretty great.
Can you tell us any other characters that are coming out yet?
There was a tease at the end of the TJ trailer. I can't say any more than that, but if you watch the end of the TJ trailer, you'll see a little tease, and you can probably figure it out.
Is that the best you got, Ultra Tech?
Everyone loves Mario Kart. Do you know someone who doesn't love Mario Kart? It's not possible. But do we really need 8 of them? With the franchise releasing their 8th installment on the Wii U, this being the first time we've seen the go-karting action in HD and in 60 frames per second, we're seeing a lot of the same features as previous versions. But is this really a bad thing? Does Mario Kart need any changes? There are 32 tracks on this endeavour, with 50% being old favourites and the other 50% are all new. Most of the features of Mario Kart 8 we've seen in the Wii U and DS games previous, such as the 12-player online competitive play, gliders, racing underwater and motorbikes, and of course all of our favourite characters are back to play. But what makes this game new and not just a reboot? Anti-gravity racing.
Flipping racing on its head. You can race on walls and even upside down. Every cart, every track, every item has been insanely tested for flippin' fun.
It's not really as exciting as it sounds. It's cool to climb the walls in some tracks, and driving on the ceiling was a novelty. Being in HD, this game looks great. Tracks like Haunted Mansion are standouts in this respect, but after the first time you hit an anti-gravity part of the track, you don't really notice it that much. It doesn't change the way you drive or how you steer, you're just driving on the wall. But it does look cool, and you'll find yourself turning your head to adjust to the angles. After the initial thrill of driving on the walls, I found that when I'm playing to win, which is always, avoiding the anti-gravity paths was often the better choice. There are some new items that added a bit of fun to my time: the horn, which is a pretty good defense against the blue shells, and the piranha plant, which will attack anyone who drives near you and gives you mini boosts as it bites. The boomerang was cool, but I definitely didn't master it, and although I never actually got the new 8 item box, it was a cool addition. Watching the post-race highlights is a lot of fun if you have a particularly close game, and with Mario Kart TV you can share your favourite highlights in the Miiverse. So how does the gamepad come into play? Firstly, I really liked the feel of the gamepad in my hands, more than the Wii remotes, and although I never felt the need to use them, there are a few cool features. You can easily turn gyroscope mode on and off if you want to tilt the gamepad to steer, or you can use the off-screen play option, which shows what's on your TV on your gamepad, and of course a variety of track viewing options to see how far ahead of your friends you are. So this game is great fun. I'm a huge fan of Mario Kart, but there are a few things that bugged me. The first one, load times. I don't know if the load times are longer for Mario Kart 8 than previous games, but it felt longer because of the boring graphic they used in between races. Also, sometimes when you hit other races, you just do this lame spinny trick that didn't really slow anyone down. Whatever happened to taking out the little guy because you were a badass giant gorilla? And who decided to get rid of the option of being able to get a second item while holding your red and green shells behind your cart? They're minor details, but it took a little of the fun out for me. What bugged me the most though is that the corners seemed way tamer and easier to take. I eventually didn't even bother skidding because it was faster to just stay on the inside lane and ride the corner out. Sometimes I felt like I wasn't even taking the corners, like I was being auto-corrected. Even on the retro tracks, I felt like those tough corners we used to dread had been dumbed down. I mean, we all remember those horror-sharp corners in Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64. This was one of the most noticeable changes in the game for me, and honestly, it was a bit disappointing. But the point here is that if you sit down with a bunch of your good friends and play Mario Kart 8, you're going to have a great time. Except for when you kindly decide not to hit one of your friends with your red shell, because you know, they're your buddy, and they return the favour by blowing you up with a sneaky bomb. You can't trust anyone when it comes to Mario Kart.
And that's about it for this edition of Player Attack, but not quite. You guys have written in and asked us for more reviews of hardware and gadgets as well as just games, so here we go. A look at the SteelSeries Stratus, a nifty little wireless controller for your iOS device. Now, there are a bunch of iPhone controllers on the market these days that add D-pads and buttons to the side of your phone, turning into something like a 3DS or a Vita. But the Stratus has been more designed for the iPad than the iPhone, so it's been modelled after something more console-friendly. Straight out of the box, it does look awfully familiar, doesn't it? It's drawing some obvious inspiration from the standard console controllers with Xbox-type buttons smushed together into a sort of PlayStation-inspired layout. At the same time, though, it actually feels like a Nintendo controller, so it should work for you regardless of your console preferences. Another thing you'll notice early on, this thing is tiny. I've got pretty small hands, and even I felt kind of cramped after playing for a while, but it is still way more comfortable than trying to use the touchscreen. Keep in mind, the controller itself will not work with every single iOS game on the market, but SteelSeries does maintain a list of games that do support the Stratus. So if you're a massive fan of something like Lily or the Real Racing series, or if you're exploring Bastion on your iPad, or if you want to be playing games via your TV but using your iPhone at the same time, rest assured you do have another controller option available. Of course, different developers do use things in different ways, so support for the controller will vary from game to game, but when it works well, it really works well. I was a big fan of the way New Zealand developer Pickpock incorporated the controller in Into the Dead, and the way that indie studio Nimblebit used it for NimbleQuest. Both of these games are simple enough at the best of times and easy enough to control with the touchscreen, but being able to play them hands-off was really great. The biggest drawback for the SteelSeries Stratus is, unfortunately, the price. This little gadget will set you back $100 in Australia and a bit more in New Zealand. It's about a third the price of an iPad mini, and we're not completely sure it's worth it. But we have also heard now that SteelSeries is bringing something else on the way that could solve our two major gripes with the Stratus. The Stratus XL is pretty much the same size as an Xbox One or PS4 controller and works with your iOS device in the same way as its little brother. An added bonus, the XL will also use standard AA batteries and promises around 40 hours of game life, but we still don't know what sort of price tag it'll come with. Next week, we go head-to-head with Michael Ephraim, General Manager of Sony Computer Entertainment Australia New Zealand, and Jeremy Hinton, Business Group Lead for Interactive Entertainment at Microsoft in Australia, to see how they felt about both major consoles' performance at E3 2014. As well as that, though, we look at a delicious home theatre pack from Denon that's currently getting a thorough workout here at Player Attack HQ. In the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack. That wizard came from the moon.